All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over my bootstrapped version of the St. Louis Blues line site. There it is. Okay, and I'm starting to talk about the different pages that are in here, but I'm going through some of the changes that had to have been made in the CSS. All right, now you're all smart enough that if you've been watching these videos or learning on your own, you'll notice that's the nav bar right there, and I made it fixed. I changed the coloring on it to try to come up with the blues colors, and it's fixed, meaning that once I move up and down here, the nav bar doesn't change. All right. One of the biggest problems that I had was, as you can probably guess when you look at the picture that's here, this picture was very small. And when I made it bigger, big enough to fit its way on the page here, it got a little distorted looking. It's not terrible, but it's not nice either. All right. As you can probably guess, I used the CSS to change the font type that's in here. I used the CSS to change the font color in here, etc. All right. I also did the same thing with the button, even though this doesn't go anywhere. I did use a little bit of HTML5 because if you look right here, you'll notice that I've got the placeholder text. All right. In here, the biggest problem that I have is I'm looking for a good, free image resizer, and I know there are a lot of them out there, but I used GIMP for some of this, GIMP, and GIMP is a free product that you can use that emulates a lot of things that you can use in Photoshop. All right. It doesn't do it as nearly as well, but it does it well. How's that? Okay, so I've got this stuff in here. Again, I brought in this picture of the Scott Trade Center. All right. And I did a little bit of work in here. I put this in as a little box, so this was a div basically. Again, I did some work with the colors, as you can see right here. Added the social media icons, made them a little bit bigger so they'd be easy. They do work. So if I click on here, it brings up in a new page. There's the St. Louis Blues Twitter page. I thought I brought it up in a new page. I should have at least. Here's their Facebook page. All right. And finally, here's their YouTube page. Now, it looks like with this one here that I didn't set up the Twitter page to open up in a new window. I'll have to fix that. You can see, again, I used some HTML5 placeholders. All right, that is supposed to say Missouri on it. For some reason, it's not coming out right. That's probably something I'm doing.
Welcome to 0 to 60. So we're here with a special guest today, Ari.
All right, so we've got that stuff. And let's just jump back and take a look in here. So I just wanted to give you that kind of as a precursor as we get going here. All right, so what did I have to do CSS-wise to make this stuff work? Well, remember that when you use Bootstrap, Bootstrap is, for lack of better words, it's kind of like CSS on steroids. So what you end up doing is for virtually everything you put in here, you add CSS classes. So if I want to work with navbar at a minimum, I put in nav, class equal navbar. Well, what am I doing in right here? I'm adding a navbar class, a navbar dark class, an inverse class, a full navbar class, and a navbar fixed top class. Plus, I'm giving it an ID of nav main so that I'm able to, in here, go in and do other things that I might want to do, as you can see in here. All right, so let's take a look and we'll break it down that way. So we've got in here navbar, which is a mandatory class, okay, The dark means that by default, by using the dark and in the inverse, usually you get a white nav bar. All right, you get a white nav bar with dark text. By using the inverse, I got a dark background, kind of a blackish one, with white text. All right, I believe the full means take up the full screen size, and the fixed top means don't allow it to move. So it should stay tight on the top of the screen. If I did a fixed bottom, it would have been on the bottom of the screen, etc. Then if we look in here, what else did we do? Well, the background color, which comes off and it's almost black on an inverse, I changed it to that St. Louis Blues blue color. All right? I added for the list items, and these list items that you see right here, the LIs, as you probably guess, those LIs are I want to make it smaller, not bigger. Well, those LIs are here. Don't know why this is going so nuts right now, but it is. All right. So those are the LIs. So I put a little bit of padding in there. And again, as you know, and you probably at least know this stuff is very much done by look and feel. You start setting stuff up. You check, do I need padding? Do I need margin? Do I need both? Should it be left? Should it be right? Top, bottom, all of them, whatever. All right. Then for the hyperlinks that were in my nav bar, I wanted them to be that orangish color. So I changed the color. I wanted them automatically to be uppercase. Now, I could have made them uppercase to begin with, but you oftentimes see the text transform to uppercase. That way, regardless of the case that I use, if I were to add something else, it would automatically be an uppercase. All right. Next, I came through here and I set the font size to 1 1/4 size of what it normally is. Now, I should mention this. I tried, I wasn't totally successful, but you notice here, for padding top, I use pixels. That's not recommended that you use pixels and you use points when you're working with Bootstrap. Rather, you should use M's and rems. M's and rems, and you can also use percentages. Those are relative sizes. These are absolute sizes. So I'm telling this to always have 5 pixels of padding regardless of the media that I'm using. And that's not really a good idea. So you really shouldn't use pixels. You should use rems and M's and percentages. All right. I said when I hover over this, I want these to turn white. Remember pound FFF, it's the same thing as if I had said, all right, well, then that's CSS. That's the same thing as if I had said color white, or if I had said color pound FFFFFF. Those are all the same. Is there an advantage of using one as opposed to the other one? As you'd probably guess, I used this one because it's less typing. All right. I had a little problem using an active class. I wanted the one that was highlighted to be bold, so I just skipped it. All right. I'm just going to hold just that. That's it for there. So that kind of is an explanation of the nav bar. All right. Check my time here. I'm doing just fine. All right. Then what you'll notice if you take a look here is after the nav bar, and that's everything that goes up through here. So what else was in that nav bar? Well, I showed you the logos and the nav bar itself. This said I wanted to push this off to the right. So I used a toggler right so that my different home and contact and etc. and the about would be to the right. And when you use that, you use this is one way of doing it, the nav bar toggler right, but then you need to pull each list item itself to the right also. So that's what I did here. So everything that you see in this unordered list was designed so that the nav bar itself, the nav bar items, all right, and let me close this, and I'm going to open it up in here. See if I can make it look a little bit nicer. There we go. Okay, so what I just mentioned to you is I put in the logo. This is the nav bar right here. I added the different options that you see right here. I used some padding on the top and some padding left and right, etc. I set it up so that whatever one you highlighted turned white. Okay? And all of that stuff that you see in the nav bar that's right here, that is all of the stuff that I added in here. All right? I put everything into one big div. So if I wanted to take this My Home, and I don't believe I did, but if I wanted to add some CSS global site-wide, I could do that. All right? The rest of this is split up into, if you notice here, my cover, which is the first page, my carousel, which is the second page, my about, which is the third page, and my sign up, which is the fourth page. And I think what I'm going to do, and there's the pagination on the bottom and then the footer. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to stop right here. And then when we get to the my cover, I'm going to do that as a separate lecture and break each one of these into their own lecture. So I'll be back with that in just a minute.